I'm going to close with some thoughts here today about the courage to be early. I want to talk a little bit about that for the rest of this call. I was driving recently. I had to be at the airport very, very early, and it was before sunrise, and the streets were really, really quiet. I mean, almost empty. And the only sound was the hum of my engine and the street lights flickering as I turned down this long stretch of road, and I was driving probably way too fast because I was probably running late to my flight. So um, I noticed something. Every light down that street was on, every single light, and it was lighting the way for cars that hadn't even arrived yet. And that's when it hit me. That's leadership. That's what it means to be early. Those lights didn't wait for the traffic. They didn't flick on once everybody else showed up. Their job was to be there first, to bring light when it's still dark, and to make the road visible before the rest of the world wakes up. You know, that's who we are at Trusted Smart Chain. That's exactly who we are. We're the street lights on a road that most people don't even realize exists yet. I'm going to say that again. We are the street lights on a road that most people don't even realize exists yet. We're building the path while others are still asleep to what's coming. And in my experience, it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's dark. But when the world wakes up and the traffic starts flowing, they'll realize that the lights were already there. They were already shining. They were already steady. They were already ready. And that's what it means to be early, and that's what it means to lead. And so the first thing that I want you to if you're taking notes worth writing down is just the courage to be early. There's something powerful about being part of something before the rest of the world sees it. Can I get an amen on that? There is just something powerful about being a part of something
Yeah.
before the rest of the world sees it. Thank you. It's not easy. It takes guts. Think back to 2009. Bitcoin wasn't cool. It wasn't mainstream. It was a white paper and a few lines of code that most people laughed at. In fact, the first transactions ever made with Bitcoin was when a programmer named Laszlo, I can't pronounce his last name, Hanyets, traded 10,000 Bitcoin for two pizzas. Today's value, guys, that's hundreds of millions of dollars for two pizzas. But think about what that moment represented. He wasn't chasing hype. He believed in something before the world understood it. Unfortunately, he sold a little too early. But, here's the thing. At the time, people mocked the idea of digital currency. I did. Who else did? I'm like, the government's not going to let digital currency come in, and there's no way. Governments dismissed it, banks ignored it, but those who had the courage to be early, the ones who looked foolish back then, became the foundation of a revolution that changed the entire global financial system. And the same story repeats itself throughout history. Jeff Bezos was building an online bookstore in his garage in 97. People said, that'll never work. Nobody's going to buy books online. Today, Amazon has literally reshaped how the entire world shops. And innovation is always, it begins with the misunderstood few. And that's exactly where we stand with Trusted Smart Chain. And I would even say that we're a little further along than that at this point. While the majority of the crypto world still chases speculative tokens, we're laying digital rails for something much bigger, a compliant, transparent, real-world utility blockchain. And when people ask, why would I buy a node? I just smile because I already know the answer. Every major shift starts with a few who see what others can't. That's what a visionary is. Guys, you're not just participants here, you're pioneers. You're not just node operators, you are pioneers. And there will come a day when people look back and say, man, gosh, Danelle, Jim, Dean, Craig, I wish I knew about that when it all got started. And you'll be able to say, man, I did. And I had the courage to be early. That's number one. Number two, from belief to conviction, from belief to conviction. Belief is the starting point. Conviction is the finish line. Belief gets you in the room. Conviction keeps you there when it's uncomfortable. I want you to think about this. Everybody believed in the potential of electric cars, but it took Elon Musk's conviction to bet everything he had on Tesla when most people thought that it would fail. And at one point, Tesla was literally weeks away from bankruptcy. He could have quit. He didn't. That's conviction. I think he's the richest man in the world right now. Belief is saying, I think this will work. But you know what conviction is? I'm all in no matter what. Let me tell you guys something. I'm all in no matter what. When you guys first joined Trusted Smart Chain, you probably believed in the mission, the vision of the blockchain that does things differently, building for real world assets focused on transparency and compliance. But belief alone doesn't build a movement. Conviction builds leaders. It's what makes you pick up the phone to talk to somebody who needs to hear about this. It's what gets you on the Zoom when you're tired. It's what helps you answer the tough questions with confidence because deep down you know what we're building is real and it's needed. And here's the truth. People can feel your conviction before they ever understand your words. They can feel it. When they hear the strength in your voice and they see the consistency in your actions, they stop wondering if it's real and they start wondering how they can be a part of it, just like that message that I got this morning. Belief gets you started, but conviction keeps you building when the rest of the world is watching. Number 3, the compound effect of consistency. Now, courage and conviction mean nothing without consistency. Guys, success isn't found in one big leap. It's built in small daily disciplines, showing up, sharing a video, inviting a prospect, following up, and learning a little bit more every single day. That's what it's about, right? We talked about the Chinese bamboo tree the other day that perfectly illustrates this, right? When you plant the seed, nothing happens for 5 years. And then all of a sudden, boom, it sprouts 90 feet in 6 weeks. People start doubting you. They say, you know what, man, you're wasting your time. You're going to get a lot of people that are out there that don't understand what we're doing. They don't get it. They don't get crypto. That's a large majority of the people out there. 80% of the people out there just don't understand what we're doing yet. And a lot of them are just going to be critical and naysayers because they don't understand it. Here's the thing. In the 5th year, when that bamboo suddenly grows over 90 feet in just 6 weeks, did it really grow in 90 feet in 6 weeks or did it grow in 5 years? It was growing the entire time. You just couldn't see it. That's how consistency works. So your efforts compound when it doesn't look like it. Just like your nodes quietly operating in the background, your faithfulness, your conversations, your follow-ups, all of it's building momentum beneath the surface. So it's not about a giant leap. It's about just going consistent. Number 4, questions are the answers. Questions are the answers. This is where skill meets leadership. Great communicators in business, in sales, or life all have one thing in common. They know how to ask a powerful question or powerful questions. Most people think selling is about talking, and it's not. It's about listening because when you ask the right questions, you help people convince themselves. It's not about convincing people to be a node operator. It's helping them arrive at a conclusion that they need to be a part of this vision. You know, personally, when my career started to take off, I made a transition. And that transition was I stopped trying to sell people and I just helped them sell themselves. That's when the magic started happening for me. You know, he who asks the questions controls the conversation. I remember hearing that the first time. It shifted everything for me. When you lead with curiosity instead of pressure, people lower their defenses. It changes the energy from I'm trying to convince you to let's explore if this could be a fit for you, right? So instead of talking at people, just ask simple, thought-provoking questions. Man, Dean, have you ever wished you could be involved in Bitcoin when it first started? Warren, what's your current understanding of blockchain and how it's changing business? Tom, if there was a way to earn digital rewards from infrastructure instead of speculation, would you want to learn about it? These questions create curiosity. They open loops in people's minds that make them want to learn more. And here's what happens next. They start asking you questions. And at that moment, they're saying you shifted from presenting to leading. You can all, I mean, questions are always the answer. They help people self-reflect. And self-discovery is always more powerful than instruction. Just remember this, leadership isn't about having all the answers. Being successful here, you do not have to have all the answers when it comes to blockchain. It's about asking the right questions and then guiding people through a process of education and using the tools to do that. And finally, number 5 is leading with vision. People don't follow hype, they follow vision. People don't follow hype, they follow vision. Vision is what separates the average from the extraordinary, the managers from the leaders. The average, they see what is. Leaders see what could be. In the 80s, Steve Jobs walked into a meeting holding a block of wood, and he said, "This is what a computer should look like. Small enough to literally sit on your desk." And at the time, I don't know if you guys remember the computers in the 80s, they filled up entire rooms. And everybody told him, "There's no way, it's impossible." But he saw the future before anybody else did. That same thing happened when Walt Disney stood in the middle of an orange grove and said, "This is where I'm going to build the happiest place on earth." People thought he was out of his mind, but he saw it and he built it. Leaders paint pictures that others can't step into. And that's what we're doing here at Trusted Smart Chain. We're painting a picture of what the future of blockchain can and should look like. Compliant, transparent, and built around real world utility. We are not selling speculation. We are creating structure. We're showing people what's possible when you combine integrity with innovation. And when you speak about Trusted Smart Chain, don't just explain nodes and tokenomics. Show them the vision. Help them to see the world that we're building, a decentralized future where ownership is transparent, it's regulated and respected, and blockchain becomes trusted by everyday people. That's the story that inspires. That's the message that people rally behind, and that's what separates us from everything else that's out there. So when your vision is clear, I'm going to tell you guys, you don't have to chase people. They start finding you. In a world of uncertainty, what people crave the most is certainty. They want to hitch their wagon to somebody that knows where they are going. They have conviction. So take a moment today. I'd encourage you guys, write out your personal vision for what you're helping people build inside of Trusted Smart Chain. What do you see that others don't see? How are you going to communicate that this week and the weeks beyond? People follow clarity, not hype. They follow confidence, not noise. And right now, I'm just telling you, our vision could not be more clearer. We are building something that will outlast the trends. It will outlast the speculation and the noise. That's leadership. That's vision. That's Trusted Smart Chain. So my closing challenge to all of you is this. Be courageous enough to be early. Let your belief evolve into conviction. Stay consistent in your daily actions. Lead with questions, not answers. And paint a vision so clear that others can see themselves in it. And just remember that history doesn't remember those who played it safe. It remembers those who showed up early, they stood firm when others doubted, and they had the courage to lead. That's us. That's every one of you. That's Trusted Smart Chain. That's the Trusted Society. That is all I've got for you today. I am fired up for the day. I'm going to open it up for any final thoughts before we wrap it up.